Welcome back, Rainmakers, to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murph, and today we're going to go over Elrond, or EGLD is the ticker symbol. Now, why are we covering EGLD? Because I'm always looking at things that are in a strong position to give my portfolio better returns. And so one of the ones I've been stocking up on is EGLD, and it is breaking out of the trend that it was in, and we're going to go over where exactly it's at. Now, if you've been following my channel and subscribed, you know that I talked about this a couple days ago, right as it was breaking out. But I didn't have time to go into much other than, hey, look, it's breaking out. But today, I want to give you that time going over EGLD, what is going on with it. So why don't we go ahead and get this party started. Join me, Rainmakers. All right, if you haven't already, go ahead and take the time to like and subscribe the video if you're one of my regulars. And if you're new to this, well, probably want to figure out after we get into this whether it's worth your time to subscribe. I'm just a crypto investor myself. I don't know everything. I'm not even always right. I'm just often right. And I analyze things like an investor. I've been doing crypto for about 4 years. I've had this YouTube channel just for 3.5 months. So fairly new at doing a YouTube channel myself, but not new at all to trading crypto, if you call 4 years experienced. And to some, that sounds like a lot of experience. To some, that's relatively new. I did go through the boom and bust of 2017, 2018, learned some very valuable lessons, but I did go to business school undergraduate many years ago and worked in business consulting and then real estate and real estate investment. So all of that has helped me be able to look at things as an investor, and that's how I tend to break it down. So everything I look at in crypto is from the investment side, and I don't tell you what to buy or what not to buy. I can tell you what I like and what I don't like and why. And that's as much I can do because none of this is financial advice. So let's talk about what I'm liking about Elrond. First of all, I like to buy things when the price is attractive. And I especially like projects where I think that they have strong fundamentals as a project, which means they have good leadership, their tokenomics behind the token makes sense, their use case for the token makes sense, that their overall market cap makes sense for what they're doing, and that their circulating supply versus the total supply also makes sense. And so today I'm not going to go too much into the fundamentals of Elrond. You can find in my history, if you go to the channel and you look at my videos, you can look in the past and find a video where I did go much more into the fundamentals of Elrond. What I'm going to talk today about is the price action and what it's doing. So let's get over to the charts. Now, I cleared all the charting on this so we could draw it together. And if you're new to analyzing charting, go ahead and pull up a browser if you're on a computer. If you're on a phone, well, there's only so much you can do. But if you want to figure out how to look at this the same way I am, the ticker symbol is EGLD versus Tether US on Binance. So what you do is you go to Trading View here. It's then going to take you to this, and you're going to get here. So then we're going to go EGLD versus USDT on Binance, and we're not there yet. You got one more step. You got to hit full feature chart, and bammo. Then sometimes you have to do some zooming. You got to get rid of the ads and stuff. And I like Trading View. It's just a great place for charting and looking at things. Let me just draw out what the charting looks like. And this is on the daily time frame. But it gives us this indicator. And so if you watch my channel, you saw then when we looked at this on the hourly when it broke out and exactly what that looked like. See, this was the trend line it was on, and it broke above it here. And so then it broke higher and it's corrected some. And so we're going to talk about what might happen here. But the way I think about crypto is somewhat simple in that, yes, there's a lot of projects I like fundamentally that I think have a lot of value during this bull run that will do amazingly well. But would you agree with me that timing isn't just important, timing is everything? For example, Elrond is a great project. But if you bought up here and sold down here, fair to say you lost money. So not just important to understand the fundamentals of a project, but timing. And what I like to do is buy when the timing's pretty good. Of course, everyone likes to buy when the timing's perfect. It's just hard to tell when it's perfect. You can usually just tell if it's pretty good. And then I like to sell when the timing is pretty good to sell. So I don't, well, I do own Elrond now, and I did back in the past. Unfortunately, I can't show you the history of where I bought it because when they went to their mainnet, they launched a whole new token, and they combined a bunch of smaller tokens into Elrond Gold to make them, and so it diminished the token supply, but essentially the market cap was the same. All it did was make less tokens. And Elrond made me a ton of money last year when it did some really big runs. And so I was looking for another entry because after they launched the mainnet and they consolidated the token, there was a lot of hype about it in the run-up to that, and then it did a long retrace. But what I did miss is this, because I can't keep my eyes on the whole market the whole time. Since I've started my channel, many of you have actually been helpful with that, and I appreciate that. Because I still act as a professional buyer for an investment company in my day job. And so I do spend about 20, sometimes 30 or 40 hours a week for them. And so the rest of my time I spend studying and analyzing crypto, keeping up to date, and then making some videos to share them with you. So probably later this year, if I haven't already, I will just be going crypto full time. The hard thing I'm dealing with, my portfolio has done very well, and I've been blessed that way. I could just take out crypto and live off of that, but then you understand the problem of selling crypto right now when we're halfway through the bull run. It's just it will gain so much more if I leave it in projects where the timing is good. And so that's the quandary I find myself in. Plus I really like the people that I work with there. They're great. So I missed this entry. Now, even if you had charted this out, look what would have happened if you bought here. And it's not the end of the world. If you bought here 6th of November, it still did nothing till here. This is like right at the 1st of December. It went boom and took off, right? So I did miss this entry. By the time I realized it was going crazy, it was already up here. And one of the things I don't do is I don't chase big green candles. And that's okay. So I missed this entire run up to here. That's fine. I was invested in other things that did really well during that timeline. Don't try to catch everything. You'll drive yourself nuts with that. What you're trying to do is catch some good ones, right? So now what I like here is that we're on the daily time frame. I'm going to bring it down to the 1 hour. And I used to have the paid subscription TradingView, and you're welcome to pay for it. You can get these 2 hour, 4 hours, 8 hours. And it's nice. For now, I find often the 1 hour and the daily accomplish what I need to, and I don't mind the ads. I just get rid of them once in a while. So this, for me, is a good entry. Now, I would be buying more here if I hadn't been stocking up. Now, I've been stocking up on Elrond over the past few weeks as it's been going here because I tend to think about things and I think, okay, which projects do I fundamentally like that aren't in the hype cycle, that aren't getting a lot of coverage right now? And that's when I tend to buy things. So though I love Ecomi, I love it, and I think it'll do much higher than it will now. It's possible that the hype on that will calm down for a while, and I can stock up on more at a really good price. And so Elrond was one that was in the news like every day, all the time when it was doing this. And that's not what I chase. What I chase is hardly anybody is talking about them. Now they have started to with it going up here, but I was looking at it and buying it when nobody was talking about it here, except I would just give little mentions about it. And then, I covered it at, I'd say, the nugget section of my videos. Sometimes at the very end, I go into a nugget that I like and share with you what's going on with it. And I covered this right as it was breaking out. And so if you caught the end of that, you caught the timing on this really well. And then it went up and it retraced. What often happens, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes this happens, where it goes all the way through, and then it sometimes comes back and retraces. Now, from here, you don't even know for certain that it's going to bounce off. It could even break lower, especially if some bad news comes out or maybe the market does terrible overall. Now, I don't know about you, so I've been buying here and here, and I think I even bought more here. I don't mind if it does this, because then what I do is I create new entry positions going down like this. And the way I decide what I'm going to put my entry positions at, I literally just go over here, and I'm going to use this horizontal ray, and I'm going to look at past structures where there's a lot of resistance and support. So I would do this, and this. And this is where I would put my buys, and I would tier it. I wouldn't go all of my available into one of these. And I'm well diversified. So, I mean, this might make up like 4% of my portfolio, Elrond does. So that's bigger than most of my positions in a lot of things, but I have a few that are bigger than that. So I would be looking at entries like at these levels, and I would buy more. So I don't care when things go down. In fact, I love it when they go down. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And yes, you know, I look at this and I was like, wow, I could have bought it way better if I had known down here. And I can't change that, so I don't worry about it anymore. When I was new, I worried about it, and that's just part of being new, even though I had been an investor for so long. When you're new to crypto, you tend to repeat some of your mistakes you made when you were a new investor anyway, and I did make some of those in 2017, 2018. I don't make those so much anymore. And so now when I see this, I actually get really happy. And what do I do to free up funds to get in this? I look at my other ones that have done well, and let me just show you. Like one I talked about in a prior video, and that I'm just hoping has a little bit more on. And I was buying this back in 2020, right at this breakout point here. And so I bought there. I can't remember if I had bought any there, but when I saw that I bought some. Now, I didn't have a channel back then. If I did, I would have talked about it. And then you might have bought, if you were new, and you would have said, oh my gosh, it's doing nothing. Because from where I bought, 11th of November to basically 6 weeks, it did essentially nothing. And then it went crazy and then came all the way back here. So essentially still nothing. That's okay. We're just patient, right? Engine, strong fundamentals. They're leading kind of the gaming, NFT, and the partnerships, and a good solid team. And so that's what I like. And I knew that eventually it would get in the news again and it would go through a massive run. And it did exactly that. So imagine if you could just go back in time and buy it 13 cents and sell it $2.30. It's not bad, right? Now, did I sell everything that I sold at $2.30? No, I sold some of it somewhere. Gosh, might have been in there. I don't remember. And I sold some right near the top here. I didn't know it was going to be the top, but it was in my take profit zone. And so I'm happy. Now, I still have 30% riding, so I only cashed out 70%. But say I saw Elrond do some really, really big dips. Then I would evaluate, okay, do I think Engine still has enough room to keep going on this, more so than what I can do with Elrond. Now, if you notice something weird about the scale, it is because it's on logarithmic here. If I take off the logarithmic, it's going to look slightly different. So let me take off logarithmic, and that's more what it looks like, so you can get an idea. But, yeah, the logarithmic increase in price quite dramatically, but good buy down here, right? And good sell point right here. Now, am I stocking up on Engine at these prices? Not so much. It might have room to run in this market. A lot of things will grow, and I'll evaluate that down the road. I didn't sell all of mine because I do think it has some more room to run. In fact, if I don't find something that I like better down the road, I mean, I'm just showing you this to show you if Elrond did poorly in price and it retraced, what I would, one of the things I'd be selling to buy more. Now, where are my next take profit zones for the remaining 30% that I'm riding? They're actually quite high. And that doesn't mean that Engine will only go to these during the bull run. It might do even better. I do think several things will do ridiculously crazy price increases during this bull market. And how do you know we're in like the last month or two of the bull market? It's when the amount of people coming in is just like a flood. And every person you ever mention crypto to ever is calling you and asking you about it. The ones that dismiss you and think that you're silly and funny and crazy and, oh, that's a bubble. Well, those tend actually to call you back and buy right at the end of the bubble. Now, people think bubbles are a bad thing. I love bubbles, and what bubbles kind of represent to me is an overboom and an overbust. And absolutely, crypto overbooms and then overbust, just like most markets do. The real estate market often overbooms and then overbusts, and stocks often overboom and overbust. It depends in the real estate market which specific market. Like in the U.S. particularly, if you look at states like California, Arizona, Nevada, They tend to overboom and overbust. And so it just depends. In many countries, they overboom and overbust, and other ones are actually pretty stable. So I can't even say every real estate market does that, but the U.S. stock market tends to overboom and then overbust as well. So crypto is likely once again to overboom and then overbust, because when we have all those new people coming in, they just throw money at everything, and it creates its own reinforcement cycle. The reason they come in and they throw money at everything is their friends are like, oh, I've made so much money in crypto. So then they come in and a whole bunch of new people come in and throw money at everything, and so then things go up even more, and then they tell all their friends, and then more people come in and they throw money at everything, and eventually that comes to a screeching halt because prices get completely unrealistic, and the really smart investors are like, I am totally cashing out everything at these prices. And then all of a sudden a whole down cycle starts, and then you kind of get an overbust, and during the next year to 2 years there's an overbust cycle where prices get far cheaper than they should ever get, but they still go there. And that's what we saw in 2017, 2018. In fact, 2018, 2019 were some fantastic buys. If you look at, one of the best examples to look at isn't even Engine. You could have got it 3.9 cents and be selling at, well, if you had sold the top of this, it would be almost a 100x, right? The best one to look at is Theta, which you could get Theta as cheap as 5.7 cents. And what's it trading for lately? I don't know, $13, $14 maybe. I haven't checked in at least a week, so who knows where it's at. But solid projects with a solid team. I can't think of many examples in the industry that have a more solid team than Theta does, and yet it got that cheap during the bear market. And so that's a great example of something with very strong fundamentals that got ridiculously cheap during the bear market because the overbust. And so great, this is what I'd be taking profits into if I see this kind of action. So just know that, like, I don't throw everything into something like this, even when there is a breakout. In fact, we had it charted here. I throw some into it, and it helps to have a well-diversified portfolio, because it means that anytime that there's a good deal, you can usually look through your portfolio and you find something that's at or near your take profit zones if you don't already have automatic sell orders in. And so part of what I bought from this is I had an automatic sell order in. I picked up more of this. The automatic sell order was in one of the ones I talked about recently that it doubled, and I just put for it to automatically sell when it doubled. I think it was CAP, C-A-P-P. And when I saw that, actually, thanks to one of my subscribers who asked if I would take a look at that, he told me what he liked about it and what the market cap was. So I took a look at it. The chart looked good. I don't know tons about it itself, the fundamentals, but it's in an area that I knew would do well. That area, the sector of crypto, is in the hype cycle. So I bought it speculatively, and I put it to sell on a double, and it did double. And so then I was like, okay, now where I'm going to reinvest that money. And so Elrond Gold made sense to me. I think I put some more in Polkadot as well. So that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I like about Elrond. So I hope this has helped you overall. See what you like about this. If you're considering subscribing to this, I did prepare a message on why I started this channel, and if you haven't listened to it already, love for you to just take a minute and listen to it and see. I'm trying to do something a little bit unique here, and I'm trying to offer a little bit of uniqueness in that I approach things from an investor background and investor perspective, not to give you financial advice, because none of this is financial advice. This is just my opinions as an investor and how I inform myself for my own portfolio. As to what do you do, that's all on you. But this is why I started the channel.
Thank you for joining the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Murphy, and if you haven't already, would you hit the like button? Also, if you subscribe to the channel and join us Rainmakers, well, the goal of this year is to make this year completely rain on all of us. And we're going to do that by having on some of the best guests and some of the best project teams come on and answer our questions as we get the best information, so that this year will be phenomenal for all of us. See you soon.
All right, if you stayed this far, you get some nuggets at the end. So we have been investing in some interesting things, like myself and some of my friends. And we've been investing in NFTs on the VV app, and they we finally have kind of a marketplace. There is a marketplace that they haven't given everyone access to because it's still in beta mode. But some of the stuff we were picking up, we have some pricing, and we were covering some things on the app, and you can buy these in pretty much almost every country out there through your mobile phone. You just have to download the VV app. That is VEVE, and they have 3D collectibles. Now, most of these, at whatever price they come out, and there is going to be a drop soon, most likely during this hype cycle, they'll appreciate and appreciate well. We were buying some Todd McFarlane Batmans and some other Batman black and white characters and stuff, and we were buying them for $40, and some of those are now going for $300. There was one for $800 or $80 or $79.99. It's now going for about $400, $450. The Todd McFarlane Batman. And so, you know, if you were buying some of those, you've done very well. I got a list from one of my friends that gave me some updates on pricing, and we've done very well on those. So congratulations to all of you, because I know many of you are Comey fans and the VV app fans. Now, overall, NFTs in the right place, I think will continue to do well, though they might plateau out for a while. And the reason is NFTs were in the hype cycle for a while, and so you saw some massive appreciation on everything NFT and gaming related. Then what happens? Well, sideways retracement just kind of needs to build momentum again to push further. And so like the OMI token, look for good buys when it kind of falls out of the hype cycle. It's been so built up. In fact, I don't know if this will let us chart it yet. I don't want to chart Omisigo. No, it's not going to give it to us, but we can look at it here. Let me show you exactly what I mean on this. And I know a ton of you are OMI fans, and many of you own OMI. But see that kind of price? Now, there was a lot of excitement for them being able to list on Uniswap. And essentially because they're built on GoChain, they had to do a wrapped OMI token to go on Uniswap. But let me just share with you how it's done great. And I want to chart this out for you, what we're looking at. So this is a normal retracement, and it might have farther to go. So let's go to trading. Nah, won't let us. So if it would let us chart it, we would actually draw a line here. And the lower trend line probably is pretty close to a lower trend line. Who knows? Could have an even bigger retracement. Unfortunately, without being able to chart this, we can't throw on the Fibonacci retracement and see, okay, buy zone 1, buy zone 2, buy zone 3. And so even though I think OMI will do really well, VV is getting their app kind of upgraded so it can handle the amount of volume that people can, that it's going to get, because they are one of the best collectibles that are out there, and they have some of the best licenses. And I believe they have the NFL Players Association license, and so they're going to make some with some football players, and they have a lot more things coming. And so look for good drops from them. I don't know how this Myrmicornos one is going to go. My guess is at whatever price they list at, it will do well from there, only because it's in the hype cycle and people are throwing money at it, because I don't even know what Myrmicornos are. Now, you may know them, know that there's a huge fan base with money for those, but even if there's a huge fan base, it doesn't matter if that huge fan base is broke. You need a huge fan base with money for them to appreciate really well. Now, it could just be future collectors that go crazy over this on the speculative side, assuming that it will appreciate, and that could drive it up short term. But as to what will do well in the long term, most of the stuff that's Batman, what I see happening is kind of what happened with NBA Top Shots. If you follow my channel, you know that I put about 1,050 into NBA Top Shots, and that what I got with the 1,050 went up to about $170,000, and it retraced all the way to $118,000, and it's slowly been climbing there. But even collectibles have big pullback and retracement, and so in the next major NBA Top Shots push, that's when I'll be selling. And part of what's driven all that price appreciation is at first there was a small base that we're buying, and so the number of collectibles they were making, the number in each of the series as far as the base set or commons, there was only like 1,000 commons at very first, and then it was like 2,500, and then up to almost 4,000 commons by the end of Series 1 for the different commons. And the rares, you might have 250 or 400, or I don't remember what the numbers are. And then the legendaries, and some has like 50, and some they have like 100. And so what's happened is that the fan base has grown tremendously. And so the supply versus the demand has created massive appreciation. And I suspect the VV app's going to do well with that, especially because the supply on these early things are still pretty low. But my guess is they continue to get bigger licenses and a lot of people flood into crypto, the fan base will get really big. And so that's not necessarily a great time to be buying when the fan base starts going absolutely crazy. That's a good time to be selling. Is it there yet? Well, no, it's just on its steady climb to a really, really big audience. So what will do particularly well is the collectibles that people want to collect. That's my nugget for the day. So, guys, I do want to thank you for joining me, and hope to see you next time.
Success is falling, flowing like rain. The timing's right, we're getting paid. Come on, Rainmakers, let's make this happen. Let all